I'd like to, so I'd be stressed. Yeah. I am now. Very good.
I'd like to call the meeting of the Ellwood City Area School District to order, Monday, October 6th, 2014. Before we go into our superintendent's report, state your name, the reason why you're here. Start on the right up here. Yeah, can you speak up a little bit so we can hear you, please?
I'm Kathy McCommons, PTO rep. After the last board meeting, when we had the teachers present a wonderful presentation about technology, we realized that there's a severe lack of technology at Hartman. The PTO decided to donate 30 Chromebooks for Hartman to try to put a teeny tiny dent in the lack of technology there. We are hopeful that the board could see fit to match our donation so that there would be a Chromebook cart at the 5th grade level as well as the 6th grade level, so that each grade level could have access to a sharing set of Chromebooks. That would be outstanding. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the donation.
Hey, PTO.
Thanks again.
I'm Danielle Woodhead. I'm an officer at PTO, a parent, and a taxpayer.
Thank you.
I'm Jennifer Toman. I'm also a parent and a taxpayer. I had read the superintendent's blog on the website, and it mentioned about the committee that was formed to discuss Perry, and I was just curious whether or not that committee had made any recommendations, or if they made their recommendations to the board, or who they actually made any recommendations to.
I'll refer to several of the board members that were at the meeting so that they can kind of fill everybody in, if that's okay.
Yeah, Mr. Rhoda and myself were at the meeting, and we were going to discuss that. Is that, I don't know if it's part of the minutes, or we're going to discuss that later on, or can we just discuss this now with the board? I don't know if you want to finish going through the visitors and then put it under. Ms. Smithing, is it on the actual agenda, the
No, it
discussion
isn't.
of it?
No.
Do you want us to discuss the feasibility study now, or would you like to? Mr. Garland, would you like to start?
Other than, as a committee as a whole, we tried to go over all the pros and cons that we could. But in the end, we felt we didn't have the expertise to do a complete feasibility study. Let me give you an example. Hartman has 3 resource areas. We don't know if those could be made into classrooms. Northside Library, it's spread out. We don't know if additional room could be provided at Northside by making the library smaller. That's why we feel we don't have the expertise, and as a board, we would make the recommendation, not as a board, as a committee member, I would make the recommendation to the board that we look into getting someone who can do a true feasibility study. Right?
Right, I mean, at this time, when the board met, or excuse me, not the board, when the committee met, they did the study, and they did a list of pros and cons, and the cons outweighed the pros. I don't know that there was anybody there that could find any real educational reasons that it would benefit the school district. So unfortunately, I mean, I know that the public is worried about closing Perry. I know they're worried about all the things that we're looking into. But as a board, what we're trying to do is be proactive. We're trying to do these studies to find out the pros and the cons so that we can make the best decision for the district when the time comes, because the money's just not there. So something's gonna have to be done eventually. So the purpose of the study, you know, it was, I know a lot of people they were afraid. They just automatically thought we were closing. That wasn't the point of it. It was to do pros and cons and to find out where we stood, how much money could we save, you know, what's gonna be in the best interest, get the educational value. But from the study, we didn't find that there were a lot of pros to closing. So at this point, like Mr. Garda said, in order for us to see, you know, to realign the district, we need to have professionals come in and have to do a feasibility study on the district, on our enrollment, declining enrollment. You know, how can we make the best fit for our kids? So at this time, you know, we are going to be recommending to the board exactly what Mr. Garda says, that we need to have a professional come in before we can make any such determination.
Along with that, what's gonna be best for kids? That's what we're at.
And along with that, we also have to determine how much this feasibility study is going to cost the district. To my knowledge, feasibility studies can range anywhere between $1,000 upwards to tens of thousands of dollars. So I'm not sure if we should look into the professional feasibility study, or if we just go with this pros and cons list and look at, say, these cons far outweigh these pros, and just let's stop the conversation about Paris School right now until we have new evidence to say otherwise.
That was kind of my other question was, is there like a time frame that you need to make some sort of decision? That was my other question. Why now? Why is it coming up now? Is it like, we need to make cuts because there's money that we don't have? Do we have to raise everybody's taxes? Like, what's the impetus?
That was the original reasoning, was look at, you know, closing Perry was just one of several studies, so which one made the most sense, or which one is the most doable for the district. You know, obviously, like with regards to educational value is number one, so how do you put money, you know, financial number on children's education? So that group that was put together was, you know, I think a lot of people thought that group was the group that was post-parent, and that's not what that was. That was a group that was told and asked to, what are basically the pros and cons. So timeline-wise, they wanted us to have, you know, the board wanted us to look at 4 different studies by December. So 1 or 2 of them were done, and we're looking at the other, starting to look at the other 2. So timeline-wise, budget time was important, which is February, you know, so we're trying to look at all the ways to do financial improvements and things, you know, that.
I would say, I think we're way too early in this process to say, yeah, we're gonna close the area. Or we're not gonna close the area. Or maybe we'll move the high school out there, I don't know. But there's a lot more studies to be done, and we need a lot more time to make that decision, because we don't want to make that.
Before I go any further, I'd like to announce that the reason why we had an executive session before this meeting tonight, and I apologize for my miss of it. It was for personnel issues and pending litigation on PIA here. So again, I apologize for your inconvenience of being out there and having to wait until we get this over back to the executive to our meeting again. Thank you.
Chuck Maggi, I'm a parent and taxpayer.
Christy Raga, I'm a PTO representative and parent taxpayer.
Wait, everybody, we're all taxpayers, okay?
Well, I think, if I may say,
Yes.
I want to get that point across so that we know that you're hearing us.
I'm gonna hear you because you're sitting, and we got.
I'm just saying, I think that's why we say we're a taxpayer, so that we say, listen to
Well,
us.
I thought you didn't pay your taxes unless you're the boss. Let's just assume that you're all taxpayers, okay? This is getting offensive.
Can I speak then?
I'm sorry, actually, the visitors were.
Well, I also have something else to say, that I think that the school district is doing wrong against some of the younger students. The students that are involved in the football and cheer, with not allowing to use the PA system, and there's other things too, I can't remember what they are, but, I mean, come on, these are students that are gonna be playing for you later on. If you wanna represent them properly, you know, why hold them back and show them, hey, we're not gonna let you do this now, but you can do it later? That's just, I mean, it's not right to me.
Mr. Maga, I apologize for that. If I was aware of that, I would have spoken up to that and made sure that wasn't the case. Now that I'm aware, for next season, where the season is ongoing, I'd recommend that we give the elementary or the.
I appreciate that, I mean, because they are gonna be playing for you if they keep going, right?
I'm not aware of any history regarding the
Wolverine.
Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't know who you were referring to.
Saturday.
So you're saying that they're not allowed to use the PA system on Saturday?
We were told.
Up until Saturday, they used it, and then Saturday, they were told they weren't allowed to use it.
And who said that they weren't allowed to use it?
I don't know who said that, but we didn't use it, remember that.
We don't know if any.
Mr. Keeley?
We don't know if any question.
I do the PA for the for Little Wolverines games. It's my understanding that the Little Wolverines have opted not to use the sound system. I know the first two games, at least the first one for sure, the PA system was turned on, and Little Wolverines have chosen to take their own speakers and display those and use just those. I don't know that anything changed from this weekend to the previous weekend, but it's my understanding that the Little Wolverine and the organization have decided to go that route, not interested in using the school speakers. I could be wrong. Like I said, I've been doing the PA, done the PA for the last 3 Saturdays. I've done all 3 games, all 3 days. And that's not my understanding that someone said that you can't use it. I believe that that was Little Wolverine's choice.
Well, that was the word that was put out.
So basically, so.
Honestly,
Well,
those guys would know
changed
anything.
from last time to this time, so there's some reason it changed.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Conley.
You answered my question about the personnel meeting, so I'll just sit here.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. We'll start back over here.
Lynn McGuire, visitor.
Hi, Anita Heon, Northside visiting.
Randy Frank, side visitor.
Hi, Julia, co-president of the Robin Rogers, parent.
Stacy Richard, parent.
Nick Reese, parent, and I'd also like to ask a couple questions of the board regarding the PIAA hearing. Mr. Bizzelli, what was your role in that? If you could answer that. I don't know if you're allowed to answer that.
What was my role in the hearing?
Right.
I went there on my own recognizance to clear up an incident that was mentioned in the transcripts of the WPIAL that I felt wasn't true. That was my reason for being there.
Okay. You weren't listed as a potential witness for Lincoln Park?
No, sir. I didn't go there to testify for Lincoln Park whatsoever.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. That's what I wanted to get cleared up. I wanted to find out the answers to that.
Thank you.
And also, you know, when you hear things like that, it definitely takes your confidence away as a taxpayer, as a student's parent, when you're not backing your own administration. And
Well, let me
I
say
just
this
want you
to
to,
you,
this
Mr.
is,
Reese.
wait, can I finish?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
This is just my opinion, okay, I don't know, I'm not speaking for anybody else in this room, but when you're undermining your own administration, it's not a good thing for your students. And that's the way I feel. Go ahead, now you can go ahead.
I thank you for your concern, but I didn't run on this board going on 10 years ago to any way damage Ellwood City Area School District. My concern when I ran on this board was for education and kids. And you know as well as I do, I dedicated a lot of time with kids in the park in the summer. You've been down there, and you've
Been there,
witnessed that.
been there.
But there's no way that I would ever try to damage the integrity of Ellwood City.
Okay, fair enough. That's all I wanted was an explanation.
Thank you.
Can you expound any more on what's going on with that hearing?
I have one more thing to say, and then that there, that's a personnel issue. We can't divulge that information anymore. But when I went to that hearing, when they listed their people in attendance, they inadvertently put me down as they had me down as Ellwood City School Board President, but they had me down more or less when we looked at it, that I was a Lincoln Park representative,
Okay,
which wasn't true.
okay.
Where were you classified, Mr. Guzzo?
Pardon me?
Where did you classify that sheet that they proposed to list of witnesses?
I have it right here.
Lincoln Park Performing Arts Charter School appeal on behalf of Nicholas, on behalf of the student. Number 4, Mr. Anthony Gazzelli, Ellwood City School Board President. So that just seems a bit out of line with what you just said.
It's just the way they do the performance series, PIA put it together, and the way it's worded, it appears that he was listed for Lincoln Park, he was not, I was there, he was not here for it.
But if he's representing the student, he really is in favor of the Lincoln Park decision.
I wasn't there representing.
That's not what that paper just said. Mr. Morello read it. Right?
That's how he was listed.
I mean, I guess maybe as the board president to a public school, I mean, I would hope that you would make that decision to represent the public school and be on the public school's side, that's all. And I hope we have faith in everyone up there that will do that. That has caused a big problem in the community with that particular student in a conflict of interest last year. When you're a public school employee, you should be supporting the public school. When you're a public school board rep, obviously you need to support the public school.
And I agree
That's all
with
we
you
ask.
wholeheartedly. And it wasn't my intentions to represent anybody but Ellwood City.
Okay. Thank you.
Point of clarification, Mr. Gazzelli, you were there representing yourself.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Tammy Rosansky, Northside Kindergarten teacher.
Christina Remote, Northside Kindergarten. Mason Booth, Northside First Grade teacher.
Debbie Wish, school counselor, 5 through 8, and EA member.
Eric Poole, Ellwood City Ledger.
Sam Berry, EAA, co-president.
Megan Moore, Northside kindergarten teacher.
Jill Salino, Northside kindergarten teacher and parent.
Stacy Hamilton, Northside kindergarten teacher.
Kelly, parent. I just had a question in regards to the previous conversation. I'm just curious if you'll share the pros and cons that Yins decided as a committee, and would Yins allow like a survey or something out to a parent and through the school somehow to parents on their pros and cons back instead of a survey that may cost us thousands of dollars?
I could post them. I mean, it might be easier because it's, I could put them up on.
But then could Jens do something in a, response and just to that survey to see what a parent's pros and cons could be to add to it or subtract from it? You guys say you have so many cons versus pros, well, maybe another person's idea is different.
I think you can post on that blog. I mean, I'll talk to Mrs. Rucker, see if we can do some kind of survey.
I mean, something that I understand you can post on, but something you're gonna pull back and actually monitor and see and use,
Sure.
not just post it and post just because I wanna be mad at someone and post something and say, I didn't like them today, so let's post something real bad. I mean, something you're gonna take in and use, a true
Sure.
survey.
Gotcha. I mean, we'll see if we can do something,
Come up with something.
most feasible way to do it. Thank you.
Is the board
you guys can pass it down if you'd like to see. Oh, you saw them already. You're very welcome. I think at this point, though, just to ease your mind, I think things are, I mean, the study right now is over.
But if you want to do more, I'm saying, and to help save costs, if it's just a click of a button, and, I mean, yeah, I understand surveys do cost a couple $100, I mean, but, well, I understand that, I've been there after there too, I'm just saying, I'm not throwing out figures or numbers, but it's also something that could be a nice value, in opinion.
I think we're getting survey and study. There's one thing surveying people, the other side doing a study. A lot of the discussion with this committee was, the question of what is the vision of the district. My vision of the district is tear it down and make it a 6, 7, 8 building. But that's going to cost you $40 million as taxpayers. But we'd have a state-of-the-art, true middle school like it should have been years ago. But that doesn't come cheap. If we want to attract people to this district, we want people to move into this district, we need to be able to compete with those school districts that have those kinds of school facilities. So I think that's what we're talking about. When we talk about a study, we're talking about true feasibility study of future enrollments, of what our current facilities are like, what maybe our future retirements are like for school district teachers. Does that balance enrollment, looking at current facilities, what can be done structurally to buildings, and we're working all day. This group that you met, it kind of came down to we have jobs all day to do a true feasibility study. It's hard for us to do that because we all have a stake in the game. Do I want to see Perry closed? And I want to see 6th graders in this building. I was principal in this building. Mr. Lake doesn't want to add 6th graders to this building. I'm not sure Mr. Keeley wants to add another grade of Hartman. So structurally, feasibility, facility-wise, how do we get that done in the current tax structure we have, with the current facilities we have, with the future enrollment we have? What's the best vision down the road? Is it to add portable classrooms to one of these buildings? Is it to do what I said, raise taxes and do it right and build a true middle school facility? That's ultimate. That's a vision, but it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt to do that correctly. So, but what's the long-term vision of the district? To build a state-of-the-art technology facility out there that our middle schoolers can have, to make this a true high school, 9 through 12. So, those are the things a true feasibility study would do. We were asked to, what's the feasibility study of closing Perry? Well, then you get a million other questions during that time. Do we have the capacity? Yeah, we're all pretty educated people, the people that were on that study. But again, we all have skin in the game, and we all have an idea. But it's going to come down to, I think, an outside group, consultant, architects who come and say, hey, you can do this with this building, you can do this, you can add this. Here's your future enrollments for 2030, whatever. So those are the things that I don't have the expertise to do. And I know, we're all educators, school psychologists, and that are on this committee, and parents, but I don't think we have the capacity to do that. And I think that's what that committee came up with, was we need to get somebody from the outside to look at what we have.
And that's great to hear, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's gonna cost money.
I just was taken back and didn't like the comment of, let's just look at the pros and cons and go after that.
Well, I think that's where we started. We had to look at, the whole idea came up with financial. We won't know the financial savings of closing Perry until Mr. Lake does an entire schedule with 6th graders here in this building. And can it be done for what we have? So he's trying to run a building right now, let alone look at future, adding another grade to this building. And can Mr. Keeley's Hartman handle 3, 4, 5 there? So we really, time-wise, we're trying to run this district at the same time. So I think the comments that came out of that committee was, here's the pros, here's the cons, we're kind of stuck. Here's where we're at. What's the next move? The next move is, let's get like a true feasibility study done district-wide. Let's look at everything. If we're going to do it, let's do it right in the future capacity of the district. Don't look at future enrollments. real estate values, property values, can you raise taxes, can't you? So, those are the things that we need to look at. And that's not gonna happen overnight, that's not gonna happen during a school year when you're trying to pass keystone exams. The current issues we're having, so, that's where it's at. What would recommendation be to this board to look at consulting firms that do that professionally and go into school districts? That's what needs to happen, to look at everything. Look at the whole entire, from A to Z. I'm not an A to Z, I know B, so, that's where it's at. Hopefully that answers.
So, I started with, life insurance, we were always looking for money. Board act administration, do a study to see if we would do that, how much could we save, and what would be the negative? Every time we try to save a number, it's always going to be a negative impact on the state. And then we have to make a decision, is it worth it? We got back, speaking from myself, it's obviously not. It's not something that's going to happen next school year. The reason this is done is if it was going to happen, we have to have that information. Now, the survey through the professional consulting Mr. Mancini's talking about, is not paying somebody to let us know whether or not we should close the fair. We can make that decision on ourselves. It would be a consultation on all of the resources, everything the school district, come up with a plan, a long-term plan, not for next year's budget, but long-term. That would be information. So that's all the administration was doing, is just looking at what would happen, what would the whole impact be? And I said, speaking from myself, just looking at it, the impact on the amount, would it save us some money? Yes. Would it be worth it for the negative impact on education? Obviously not. And that's a decision the board would have to make. I'm not talking about paying somebody to tell us whether or not to close the building.
Thank you. I'm Pam Kreitzer, I'm just visiting.
Shannon Landis, parent. Joanne Morgan, parent.
I'm Jeff Cross. I was here because of what appeared to be a conflict between a school board member and a school district position on the transfer of the student. So that's the main reason I was here. In regards to Perry, like everybody else in this room, Mr. Stevenson pointed out, I'm a taxpayer and I appreciate being a good steward of my money. However, if a study is what's needed, as opposed to going off the pros and cons, I would appreciate that we do whatever steps are necessary to make sure we do the right thing.
Mandy Zackelheide, Northside Autistic Support Teacher. Tracy Lee Asher, Speech Language Pathologist, Northside. Jennifer Byers, Mission School Teacher, Northside. Shannon Gerda, First Grade, Northside.
Okay, we'll move on to our superintendent's report, Mr. Mancini.
I'd like to always ask the principals if they have anything they'd like to say or things that are going on. We were planning on doing some other things, but the state has not officially come out with their SPP scores yet publicly, the school performance profile. That was our plan, but we don't want to give you any bad information because I think they've changed a couple times in the last week. So, I'll just kind of turn it over to principals if they have anything they'd like to say about things that are happening in their building, and we'll start over there with Mrs. Gibson.
Okay, sure. It's nice to see everybody here today, and I have a minute to brag about Northside, so that makes me happy. We completed our Ames web testing, and our Northside RTII process is undergoing right now. We have children in Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 that are getting services within their classroom, and we also have some students that are getting services outside their classroom. We met with the Macmillan McGraw-Hill Reading Series Company. We're piloting 2 reading series at all 3 elementary buildings, and that process is underway. Northside hearing screening has been completed. We had a very successful family fun night at Northside for K to 6 students. It was just a fun game of bingo, but it was well attended. We had our Northside Book Fair, and the PTO very generously gives all of the profits, I'm not sure if profits is the correct word, to our libraries. So it was a win-win situation. The kids had great books at home, and now they'll have a better selection in their library at school. We are having a fire safety assembly. We had one today and one tomorrow, and fire truck tours at Northside. That's a big favorite with our elementary students. October 14th, we'll have a walking practice evacuation, weather pending. If the weather's nice, we walk the kids just from the playground down to the family center and back. It's a nice practice in case we ever need to do that. We have second grade conferences scheduled October 15th through the 30th. We have face-to-face conferences with all of our parents, K-2. October 27th starts our Red Ribbon Week, and we have daily themed kind of dress-up days throughout the district. We had our first PTO meeting. We had approximately 40 parents at Northside on our first meeting. Northside, we have 30 iPads for 404 students at Northside. I'm not complaining, we're happy to have them, but I just thought that was an important thing for people to know. ICANN statements, which represent our Common Core, are on display and being referred to in lessons every day. I see them in my walkthroughs, and our teachers are doing a very great job focusing on those Common Core standards. And that's all I have. Any questions? Thank you again for being here.
I have a question.
Yes,
Is the district looking into a new reading series?
we are. Our reading series is very old and outdated. It is not aligned with the Common Core standards. And so it's time. It is an expense. But if we are expected to teach those Common Core standards, we need those resources. So
Because the math book isn't aligned either at this
the
time.
math book is much, much newer than the reading book, though. Yes, I agree with you 100%. You're correct in that statement. Anything else? Thank you.
Want to bat lead off with, missing the comments, that huge donation from PTO. So Kathy, that's not all PTO does, and every month I try to write something up. So if you're here on Thursday, listen to my commendations for PTO, because eternally grateful for what they do for us. Intramurals started down in Hartman. Mr. Wilfong is running 5th, 6th grade hockey Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Kids appear to be having a great time. They're real enthusiastic. They got to name their teams, and Kate even said to me today, "Keely, we should have named our team after you." So they're real excited, and that is awesome to see. I just want to, the focus for me this week, we're signing teacher evaluations from last year this week. So I just want to address how convoluted PD has made the things that we do today, okay? So just today, I talked to people about the SPP, the School Performance Profile. Talked to them about SLOs, Student Learning Objectives, DSM, Differentiated Supervision Model. Talked to them about the Danielson Observation, and I talked to them about the Pennsylvania Core Standards. And of those 5 things, 3 of them, I think I'm a pretty well-educated guy. 3 of those I hadn't heard of 3 years ago. And for the most part, those things haven't come into play at all, really, until this year. So we're really blazing the trail with a lot of this stuff, and it's a work in progress. So I'm asking everyone to be a little patient with us and the things that we're doing, because it's a slippery slope. Any questions for me? That's all I have.
I'd like a comment, just to thank Mr. Keeley for his help with the career fair, because there's so many parents here that participated and helped with our career fair at Hartman and Perry on Friday. We had about 20 parents come in, present their careers and job opportunities in their fields and education. And the kids loved it, the parents loved it, the school district loved it as well. So I appreciate you guys. And Mr. Keel.
This is a commendation for you and Mrs. July as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's already submitted.
Blake?
I'm going to use Mr. Keeley's step stool there with PA core standards. I think the one thing, if you're a high school parent, you've probably heard a lot from, hopefully, your son or daughter about the PA core standards. Just to put a general term on it, because we could be here all night trying to explain it, it's either you're a math teacher now or you're a reading teacher. And, you know, I see some high school teachers here just shaking their heads because I've really tried to hammer that home, and that's difficult to grasp. It's either a math teacher, I'm always saying now, math or non-math. English language arts, they call it, ELA. So if you're not a math teacher, you're a teacher of English language arts. And we ask all teachers, no matter what department, to teach that English language arts, which most of us had reading across the curriculum in college to prepare for that, but not at this level. So I would think as parents, you've heard some different vernacular at home from their son or daughter with, like Ms. Gibson said, I can statements or different standards. That's what will be tested. And it's sad that we have to live in that type of educational world, but that's the game that we play now. So that's the biggest thing that is going on at the high school, coming from the top, is you're either a math teacher or everybody else is an ELA teacher. So I'm hoping that the teachers have been very receptive. Veteran teachers that have been here 20 plus years, changing their strategies to fit that design. And I can't be more proud of them in doing that. And I really applaud the teachers for grasping that, despite the state being I won't finish that statement. One of the things that we purchased this year to help along students is Study Island, that they've been doing, a lot of students have been doing, for a long time now in the elementary school. It's now infiltrated the high school all the way to grade 12. We have career and college readiness skills available to the seniors and juniors. I don't see our student council rep tonight. I apologize for that. I'll follow up on that. Usually they're here every month, but I'll speak for them. Student council and ECTV, our morning broadcast team, entered a contest. It's called a lip dub video. Some of you that have seen them on YouTube, it's a school pride video. And today, it really took a lot for them to convince me to do this and we didn't take class time. We had an activity period, so we didn't miss any periods to do this. But in a half an hour, we were able to get our student body in positions, either in the hallway, big gym, in their different clubs or sports or different activities, and we had a few students that were lip syncing Be True to Your School, and that's the video contest. Today we used the activity period for rehearsal. Next week we're going to use another activity period to videotape it. I was very apprehensive, but I was pleased with what I saw today during rehearsal, and I'm sure that it's going to be a success next week, and then they'll send that in, and then we'll see what happens there. So those are some things that are going on in the high school, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Rucker. I'm sorry. Just signal.
Yeah, just real quick. Tomorrow we have our kickoff meeting for the CS First Programming Club, going to be down at Hartman for 5th and 6th graders. It's Google curriculum. I'm using the Scratch programming language, and it's going to be for 4 weeks, twice a week. 8 sessions total, and this session is on gaming and how to do games. I have 18 students that have signed up, so we're really looking forward to that. I was able to get a hold of Google. They're going to send us some trinkets for the kids that have Google stuff written all over it. So hopefully this, we'll see what this goes. There's 2 other sections. One's music and one is animation that are 2 more sessions that we could run. So we're going to try this, see what happens, and go from there. So I'll report on it next month.
Thank you. Moving on to our regular business. Mr. Mancini, you want to continue?
Okay, regular finance,
Yep, we'll have regular monthly reports for September presented on Thursday evening. We'll have 2 idea contracts. We get federal funds that flow to the intermediate unit and then on to the school district. We'll have a couple of agreements that indicate the roles and responsibilities of each entity in handling that money. The one grant's for $265,910 for special needs students, and a second one is for $4,409 for kindergarten students, I believe. It has to be used for all kindergarten. And the last, under revenue and finance, we approved the procurement card program last month. Now we provided a policy to you that we'll let sit for 30 days and submit for board approval at the November meeting. And that's it under revenue and finance, Mr. Nisi.
Thank you, Mr. Jerome. Under education, with EduLink addendum, we contract with EduLink for software for all the things that Mr. Keeley mentioned as far as teacher evaluations, SLOs, differentiated supervision. They came out with their next module, which is the SLO, Principal and Non-Teaching Professional Evaluation Software. So we are looking for approval to purchase that to streamline that process. Personnel and executive session items will be in executive session. Properties and transportation, some facility requests. Ellwood City Little Wolverines has requested use of Helling Stadium, including the bathroom facilities for their 2014 playoff game, which is being held October 11th, 2014. Lawrence County 4-H Wayne Buckaroos request the use of the pod area or classroom at Hartman Intermediate for their bi-monthly 4-H student club meetings held from February to November of 2015. The meetings will be held on the first and third Mondays and last from 6 to 8 p.m. Robert Bishop, Alumni Football USA requests the use of Helling Stadium for the 5th annual alumni game on Friday, November 7th, 2014 from 4 to 10 p.m. This is Betty Bainey Deloya, Chairman of the EC Parade Committee, is requesting use of the LHS parking lot for annual Halloween and Christmas parades from 1:30 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, October 25th and Saturday, December 3rd, 2014 respectively. 5th and 6th grade girls basketball teams requesting permission to use Hartman Intermediate School's gym for skills and drills basketball on Tuesday and Thursday evenings beginning October 25th, 2014 with an open gym through the season from 4:30 to 9 p.m. Rec Wrestling requests permission to use the hall outside of the multi-purpose room at Hartman Intermediate School on Tuesday, October 21st and Tuesday, November 4th, 2014 from 6:30 to 8 p.m. for wrestling registration. And Rec Wrestling requests permission to use the main gym and kitchen at the Lincoln High School on Saturday, February 21st, 2015 with an alternate date of Saturday, February 14th, 2015 for a wrestling tournament from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with setup being the evening before.
I have a question.
Yes.
They said they're requesting the gyms in the kitchen.
And it's on there, it's on the use form. Well, they must be one, they probably meant the cafeteria too. We'll clarify that, but there's a charge also for use of the kitchen.
When you go to dinners or?
They serve food.
Serve food, so.
Hamburgers like that.
People are there all day, so it starts with breakfast and pizza and all kinds of.
But they have to have a kitchen employee there. Any other questions on those?
Just a request that, LSU Little Wolverines request for the playoff game, we make sure that they have access to the microphone PA system.
Okay. Number 2, Lincoln High Masonry Roof Repair Change Order G3. Change Order G3 will be submitted for board consideration at the regular meeting. The change order is a zero cost change order. It reflects miscellaneous credits for funds not used, balanced against additional work that was done as issues were discovered during the construction process. And transportation costs. Estimated transportation costs for Ellwood City Transit for the 2014-15 school year will be submitted for board consideration at the regular meeting. Student affairs, field trip enclosed. Mr. Brown, Mr. Scott Buckley request permission to take approximately 48 students from the Street Club to Washington, D.C. to visit various historical sites from Saturday, May 16th to Tuesday, May 19th, 2015. They'll depart at 7 a.m. May 16th, return approximately 7 p.m. on May 19th, 2015. They will travel by motor coach, paid for by student-raised funds. Yes.
I'm sorry. Just to go back to the transportation costs, I'm just a little confused. This is just for the busing for this year? Because I thought this was already done.
She asked if it was just for the busing.
It's just for the busing, it's just Ellwood City Transit. We let the routes get established, figure out how many vans we're going to need, how many special needs vans we're going to need, and then once that's presented to me, we review it, make sure it's what we want it to be, and then we present the cost to the board for consideration. I mean, it's already contracted, the costs are already contracted, just give you a flavor of what's going to be going
I
on.
was gonna say, I thought we had already, thank you.
Two social event enclosed, Ms. Felicia Greco, LHS Choral Director, requests permission for approximately 15 to 20 concert choir students, grades 9 through 12, to travel to New York City by coach bus from Thursday, March 5th to Saturday, March 7th, 2015.
Question to me?
Yes.
Where is testing around that period?
It's not until April this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the kids are good.
Yep. Bus drivers, enclosed is a list of additions of Ellwood City Transit bus drivers, monitors for 2014-15 school year. This will be submitted for board consideration with understanding that approval is pending receipt of all necessary clearances. New club proposal, Mrs. Lisa Leonberg, wellness coordinator, has requested the establishment of health leaders of tomorrow club for students who hold a passion for a health-related career. There will be no units established, since Mrs. Leonberg will be the sponsor of the wellness coordinator position. Some informational stuff, enclosed request from the Ellwoodian staff to purchase an ad for the yearbook. I think we want to pitch into that. Ms. Petrelli was appointed as a voting delegate to the PSBA Delegate Assembly. She will be asked to vote on proposed 2015 PSBA platform and proposed bylaw changes. Enclosed our documents with the information she will need to consider. She has asked that the board review it and provide her direction so that she votes with the intentions of the full board. And finally, each year the district purchases yearbooks for board members. Please advise if we want to continue this procedure. The cost is $750. So that's something that we can discuss. Brought up that, that the board gets a yearbook every year at the cost of the district, but it's something that we want to change from now on.
I'm okay with that. I don't see it as an expense. We don't need.
I don't know, you're the only one I can see, so.
Well, I do it back here.
Yeah, we'll give it a thumbs up.
I like it in the respect it gives us a look at what our school did.
What about one coffee?
And it can have the school.
How about you can buy it at a discount?
Does that make you happy?
I'll buy you one.
I'll buy one.
Yeah, that's just.
I'm in agreement that we should pay for it, but could one be given to the historical society, one to the public library?
Does the public library have an already?
I don't know if anybody's ever given one. If the kids that can't afford one, they say to see one.
I know we have, in the school library.
Yeah, the library always has one.
Yeah, here and
Yeah,
there.
this copy, it's on the public.
Yeah, the public and the historical.
Yeah, all right, it's no problem.
That's all I have, Mr. Bizzell.
Thank you, Mrs. Mancini. We'll go back to our visitors. Anybody have any other comments they'd like to make?
I just wanted to clarify why the PTO chose to donate the 30 Chromebooks to Hartman and not Northside. We love Northside, we do. But after realizing Perry had one-on-one technology out there, and then going from 3rd and 4th grade where you got it, and then to go to Hartman where it's like the Sahara concerning the technology, we felt that it would be best used there. And I also wanted to piggyback on your wonderful idea not to get yearbooks. That's like 4 Chromebooks right there. Push towards Hartman. Just a little side
I'd like to clarify too, maybe a lot of people don't know why Perry has so much technology. Perry and Northside are Title I schools, so with money that's left over, that keeps carrying over, they're able to purchase items. And a lot of that money is restricted on how you can purchase and what you can purchase. Mr. Keeley last year realized the money that he had and purchased technology with it. He also, Perry qualified for a rural and low-income school grant for like $39,000 or $40,000 too. So, and that was able to use, but it was the only school that we had that qualified like that. So that's why Perry kind of has a lot of that technology. Parkman isn't a Title I school, but if you know me, my goal is to eventually get one-to-one throughout the district. That may take some time, but and slowly over the process, but we'll keep working on that. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
This question is, I think, directed for Mr. Schuster. I received a call today from the, one of the signs for the baseball signs that during the construction process, 3 or 4 of the signs were taken down, and this sponsor wanted to know when the signs would be put up. Is that our responsibility as the Booster Club to go back and replace the signs, or will grounds be replacing the signs?
We probably could do it, you know. I didn't notice that they were missing for one.
I think I was told there's 3 of them, and they're on the ground, and
That was my next question. Do we know where they're at?
he told me it was Mr. Kingston, the police officer, told me that they were on the ground, getting muddy, getting rusty.
Is the fence back up?
I think so.
Yeah.
Then the signs will be put up tomorrow.
Okay, awesome, that would be,
You talking about from the left field sign?
I guess, I don't know, he just called me and left me a voicemail wondering when the signs would be put back up.
I'll see that they're up tomorrow.
I mean, my husband could have gone over and done it, but I don't know if I could get into the field this evening. I just need it done. And the second thing is, I'm sure the teachers are well aware, I know you're in need of technology, but there's a really good Donors Choose program, especially in this area. I mean, being a teacher in Seneca Valley, we get thousands of dollars donated, and we really don't even need it, but it's something that maybe one of your teachers could put on there, that you would like, those computers, and I'm sure someone will match some funds to get those things.
Thank you.
It's an awesome resource, you might as well use it. A teacher in my 4th grade classroom asked for $1,500 for iPads for a classroom, and she's already been matched like $1,200, like within 5 days. So I would really, really suggest the teachers get on there and just put it on there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'd just like to revisit the PIA for 1 second, because it seems to me that what led to the confusion was the fact that it wasn't apparent that a board member was going to be attending that hearing. And if that is the case, I may be wrong, maybe all of you knew that whoever was there was going to be there, but if that's not the case, I'd recommend that there be some sort of an understanding amongst you that if anything like that comes up again, that before somebody would attend, they would make the board aware that they would be in attendance of that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Johnny Mayor.
Noticed the poster out there for blood test tomorrow with the Red Cross. Blood drive, rather.
Blood test and Ebola.
Well, that was my next question. Is this faculty or is 18-year?
Students, everybody.
Really?
Yeah.
What age? I mean,
You have to be 17.
is that with parental
Yeah.
consent and all that too?
Some teachers choose to give too on their own planning time.
I mean, I think it's a great idea.
We usually do 3 or 4 of them a year.
And my other question was, is it this year that they're doing the audio and video on the buses?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good.
Go ahead.
I noticed in the last few weeks, I've been over through Ewing Park, and it appeared that the residents that live around the Ewing Park school property have kind of taken it upon themselves to park their personal vehicles on that property. Anytime you go by, in the evening or during the day, you'll see there's several vehicles that are parked on the grass, not just like beside it, they just pull right up over the curb and on the property. So I was just wondering if any of you were aware of that or condone it, or if there's anything you want, if you were renting out
parking spaces for the winter.
There's an idea.
Motorhomes for storage. I just wanted to make you aware that evidently the folks over there think it's their own private parking. Call out.
If there's no other, questions, visitors, we're gonna go back into executive session.
Can I say something real quick, Doug?
Sure, go ahead.
I just want to personally thank everybody for coming. I know there's, Ellwoodcity.org out there. A lot of people can sit at home, sit with their pajamas on and write whatever they want and don't have to sign their name. But I just want to thank everybody for coming here, and, cuts a lot of gossip when you can ask somebody directly. And I am on the VOTEC school board too, and I talked to a lot of other school board members from the different Lawrence County schools, and they don't answer their visitors when they come. You ask your question, they write it down, and you might get an answer following board meeting. And so I just want you to know that when I come here and I see, someone talking to the PTO, and the PTO talking to the teachers, and the principal, talking to the teachers, and then interacting, it's really a good thing here. And, I just, if you have anybody else or anybody else asks you questions, tell them to come. We need the hard answers. We'll give you the hard answers for the hard questions. Some of us get nervous because we don't want the hard questions, but it's our jobs, that's what we're here for. And I just appreciate everybody's time, and I thank everybody for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Go ahead.
Going forward with the PIAA hearing, just making sure that no other board members will be inadvertently listed on behalf of Lincoln Park. I don't understand how that would not violate a code of ethics if that is true. I don't think you could testify against our school instead of the board
I
for
don't
our
think
school.
that there's anybody on this board, ma'am, that would do something like that.
I'm just making sure that going forward that isn't inadvertently done. That PIAA is lying, it's ID wrong, just making sure.
Thank you.
Only one side, this side. Okay?
I'm just going by the report of what you read.
Somebody inadvertently did that. Somebody not here.
I'm not saying someone here did, I'm just saying going forward, they should, in no way should that even be confused. Like, what even led to that confusion, that you were on that side as opposed to our side? Obviously, there was something that led them to believe that.
I hope that was explained to you tonight. That was inadvertently done by somebody not affiliated.
I understand, but I'm saying, whoever did that, how did that get confused to them?
Well, we don't know. We don't even know who did it.
Well, I don't know if that's true, Mr. Stevenson. I mean, we discussed this already.
Yes, we did. And it was inadvertently done that way. By who?
Now, I'm gonna refer this to Mr. DeCaro because I'm not exactly sure what we're supposed to be saying and what we're not supposed to be saying.
I don't think I've said anything out of line at this point. Mr. DeCarlo,
This dialogue that just happened is not accurate. And I think that it should be either made accurate or it should just be ended.
Whatever.
I think it's for executive session to discuss, since it's dealing with pension.
Okay, and that's fine. But to make statements again that aren't necessarily the truth is not also fair. So it either needs to end or we need to go into an executive session.
Sorry if I missed that.
Okay, if we don't have any other questions, we're gonna adjourn to an executive session again. Again, we thank you for coming and,
Should have gave him. She gave the check, $5,370. Say what?
You didn't order it.
No, I'm waiting to get some more.
Okay, because we have to make sure we do that. They have to get the license to go with it.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, we're gonna get some more money. We gotta find a way to get 2 cars, 30 each.
First question, where do we drop the kids off? Oh, but that's not till 3.
They can just come up to the computer lab.
Upstairs in Hartford?
Yeah.
Okay.
They sit down.
Oh, I am, I'm done with this crap.
There's the main ones right there. Because in Frankfurt, by the time you do us workers, we do walkers and stuff, those kids will
We're
just
down
stay.
to about 22, okay, I just didn't know.
And
where
I'm gonna
to
go
take
up,
them.
yeah, and I'm gonna
Okay,
go
so
up.
we'll just tell him to stay after school tomorrow, and pick him up at 4:30.
Pick them up at 4:30 out.
I gotcha.
Once you